What's up, guys? It's Lord Both here for another video, and it turns out that Overwatch 2 players, get this, because this is a little known secret. Well, they all left to go play Marvel Rivals. I know, shocking, right? By the way, if you are an Overwatch 2 fan, I will warn you right now, you might want to skip this one, because this is a Marvel Rivals glazing video. I'm just going to be upfront about that right now. This is a lot of positives about Marvel Rivals. So if that's going to make you just might want to move to the next one. And it's not that I don't want you to watch the video. I'm just looking out for your mental health. But this all stems from this article here from Insider Gaming entitled, "Almost half of players who quit Overwatch jumped to Marvel Rivals." According to the latest gaming industry report from Newzoo, 45% of Overwatch 2 players who stopped playing in December of 2024 played Marvel Rivals instead. After hitting a high peak in daily active users when it launched in early access in October of 2022, Overwatch 2's numbers dipped over the next year and a half. Yeah, because mostly there were a lot of questions as to, does Overwatch 2 really even need to exist? Because, Overwatch was a live service game. And, most of the time, live service games, you just update. When Fortnite had a massive overhaul, it's not like they came out and said, we're making Fortnite 2, or this is now Fortnite 2, and you gotta re-download a whole different game. No, they just updated the game. You didn't need to make an Overwatch 2. You just do a massive overhaul of Overwatch 1. But for some reason, they went with this whole Overwatch 2 thing. And it gets worse, as the article states, that after stagnating throughout 2024, the game's numbers got even lower in December when Marvel Rivals launched. The Overwatch Classic event temporarily increased player engagement by 12%, but this was followed by a 26% decline that coincided with the Marvel Rivals launch. So they had a 12% increase in players when they brought back Classic event, but then a quarter of their players left right then when Marvel Rivals came out. And I can tell you right now, it's mostly because Overwatch for the longest time was the game when it came to hero shooters, specifically colorful and cartoonish hero shooters. And when Marvel Rivals came on the scene, despite the fact that it didn't have a overwhelmingly positive demo, it still did really, really well. And a lot of people ended up being very wrong about it. I ended up being very wrong about it. It played fairly smooth, and they fixed a lot of issues, and people seem to really, really enjoy it, especially when it first came out. The second thing is that while Overwatch was spending all their time doling out ugly skins for characters and charging you premium prices for it, while simultaneously making every character some form of gender ambiguous or just blatantly homosexual,
put a ticket in and make a name it gay!
Marvel Rivals wasn't really focusing on any of that. And they just gave gamers what they wanted. And yes, part of what gamers really wanted was sexy female characters. Which, yes, also included the newest Emma Got Yams that we'd all love to frost over here. Which also drove out people like Melanie Monk over here to hit up Twitter and say that this is prawn and it's turning all the men gay. Because apparently the skin of alternative version Emma Frost looks like a drag queen to her. Which I don't know how that Emma Frost looks like a drag queen to her when she has that much curve to her body, much more curve than Melanie Mac has, and so much natural boobage that's drawn on her that Melanie felt it important to blur out. Though I have a suspicion that that might be a little bit of jealousy. By the way, you ever notice that you don't really see any posts or videos from Melanie Mac talking about, I don't know, the marathon gameplay trailer that just came out and how good or bad that might look, at least to her? Or even if you don't want to go with that, you want to stick with the culture war stuff, you don't hear her talk about things like Schedule 1 and the whole purveyance of a game that's all based around selling drugs. And you even don't have her talking about a game like No Mercy, which you think in her realm is a game that she would talk about, given the horrific nature of that game and the values that she seems to stand up for, especially within the realm of gaming. But she doesn't. The only thing she ever seems to talk about is gooner stuff, which is a weird niche market to carve out for yourself in both the religious morality realm and the gaming realm of YouTube. But that's just an observation of mine.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Also, by the way, I know a lot of women also play these hero shooter games, whether it's Overwatch or Marvel Rivals. And for any of you out there worried that these are only paying service to men or women that like sexy female characters, well, don't worry, because as this headline from PC Gamer says, Marvel Rivals sneakily implements butt patch that cakes up every male character in the game. And this is to fan service both the female and gay audience of this video game. Which, of course, someone like Melanie Mac immediately went to saying that adding bigger butts to men in this game was trying to make men gay. You know what's interesting? I've seen a lot of guys with caked up butts in my life. Never in my life did I think, I really want to jump into that. But leaving that culture war aspect behind, see what I did there? Butts behind. It wasn't just the goonerality, and yes, I'm making goonerality a word, but it wasn't the goonerality alone that sold this game. And we'll explain why in just a minute. But first, some more amazing statistics. The article states, despite releasing in the last month of 2024, Marvel Rivals was one of the most played games of the year. That's absolutely wild when you consider some of the games that came out that year. It had the 8th highest share of total playtime on Steam in 2024 and was the 3rd highest among 2024 releases, behind Helldivers 2 and Palworld, which, if you remember, those two games were absolutely massive when they launched last year. Did they have kind of a quick fall off? Yes, I would say Palworld more than Helldivers, despite the fact that Helldivers tried to do everything possible to get themselves to fall off as fast as possible with their prospective audience. But still, to be 3rd, just behind them in only 1 month, that's crazy. Amongst all the most played free-to-play 2024 releases on Steam, PS5, and Xbox, Marvel Rivals is the only game that has not shut down or is more than 90% below its peak monthly average users. That actually tells me two things about the gaming industry overall. One, there are a lot of really small free-to-play games that don't stick around very long because they can't afford to keep the lights on. People just, they're not buying. They're not buying the add-ons. They're not buying the microtransactions. The second is, that's a little bit of an indictment to live service games. Because when they say shut down there, one of the big ones they're going to be talking about there is X-Defiant. That statistic really hammers home the idea that this live service market is not easy to get right. And again, gooning alone is not enough to sell it. It has to have good gameplay and functionality to it to be a successful game. And we're going to get into that right now. Free-to-play gameplay time reportedly grew in 2024, and Marvel Rivals was also a major part of that, which also tells me it's a lot more competitive market in the live service realm, which makes it even harder for free-to-play games to break even, let alone make a massive profit. Marvel Rivals was the second highest source of growth in free-to-play gameplay time amongst new releases in 2024. It was just behind the first Descendant, and according to current Steam player numbers, Marvel Rivals currently is drastically outpacing it. Yes, because the first Descendant is a gooner game. That doesn't mean that it doesn't have gameplay that can be enjoyable, but it has definitely, since its release, leaned into the fact that people like the sexy characters in it, and are using that as a main selling point for the game. If you go look at First Descendant, the gameplay isn't a lot to write home about. The mechanics, while when I played it, I thought felt good, are a little bit, janky at times. And the voice acting is, it is acting worthy, if not worse, of certain film industries.
I see you don't have a lifeguard here at your beach.
I'm not at the beach, this is a bathtub.
There is no denying the fact that First Descendant is in that category that makes it like a Hooters of gaming. It's like the Paris Hilton in a bikini Carl's Jr. early 2000s commercial kind of game. Meanwhile, while Marvel Rivals does deliver on some goonishness, and yes, I am also making goonishness a word, it also has very approachable but fun mechanics. You feel the weight to the game, and even though I'm not a hero shooter guy, and I've only played Marvel Rivals a handful of times, I get the appeal of it. I understand the reason why people who are addicted to those kinds of games are addicted to those kinds of games, even though it's not really my cup of tea. Marvel Rivals numbers on Steam have been slowly declining since launch, but a surge could occur in just a matter of days when Season 2 starts. This article, by the way, came out on April 9th, and as you can see here, after Season 2 launched, they did have a surge. They got up to 315,000 peak concurrent players for that time. And even right now, 24-hour concurrent player mark of 242,000 players, that's nothing to sniff at. Trust me, there's plenty of live service games that would love to have those numbers. Go ask Ubisoft about how they feel about their Skull and Bones numbers. Actually, don't do that. They'll just lie to you and tell you that everything's fine. Our company is definitely not going under, guys. The point here is that currently, Marvel Rivals is not just beating Overwatch 2 in the numbers, it's literally stealing Overwatch 2's numbers. Their players are leaving to go play Marvel Rivals. That's just what the numbers say. Which, if you're a big Overwatch 2 stan, which I told you not to watch this video. I was looking out for you, but you did anyway, so this is what you're gonna get. If you're an Overwatch 2 stan, I would feel bad about these numbers. Because while Overwatch 2 is far from dead, they need to course correct soon and do something. Come up with something innovative to get the audience back. Rebrand in some kind of way. Or at the worst possible scenario, start looking to the future. Because what they're doing right now to bring people back in, with the bringing back loot boxes and other old stuff that people enjoyed, it's just not working. So if I were them, I'd look to the future, and I'd also kind of start praying for more superhero fatigue. Because that might be one of the big things that contributes to Marvel Rivals' decline. It's also why I kind of think they've tried very artistically to distance themselves from the MCU in Marvel Rivals. Addendum to this already longer video. It's wild. I put off making a video about this Overwatch subject for like a week because other big things in the news were coming through that I needed to make videos for. I was busy with work, life, etc. And when I finally get to it, I film it, I cut it, have it ready to go. I had the thumbnail picked out. I was going to use the meme of the guy looking back at the hot girl while he's holding his girlfriend's hand. And the hot girl was going to be Emma Frost from Marvel Rivals. And his girlfriend was going to be Mercy or whatever character I wanted to use from Overwatch. And then that very day, Overwatch decides to drop some news on us. Because, and this comes to us from IGN, Overwatch 2 Stadium details. Yes, the new Stadium mode from Overwatch 2 is apparently launching on April 22nd. Now, this had been talked about for a while now and was expected to release, but we finally got an update just yesterday when it's expected to drop, and it's going to drop pretty soon, like next week. And here are some of the details about that mode, and it's quite innovative, I won't lie to you. Stadium is a brand new mode announced for Overwatch 2, creating a third-person 5v5 experience unlike anything you've seen in Overwatch before. Stadium mode is expected to release for Overwatch 2 on April 22nd, 2025. Stadium is a new multi-round mode in Overwatch 2 that will see 2 teams of 5 players compete in a best-of-7 battle. Stadium is exclusively available in the new third-person camera mode, so you'll be able to fully see your heroes and their cosmetics in the game. First off, what a novel idea. You mean to tell me that Overwatch players want to actually be able to see their cool skins that they paid money for in the game as the character they're playing, rather than just seeing everybody else's skins as they're chaotically trying to fight each other, not really paying attention to what they're looking at in the combat, and more paying attention to using their abilities, fighting their opponent, achieving the objective, etc., etc. Secondly, wow, a multi-round stadium in which two teams face off against each other, and it's all in third person as heroes. I wonder what other game is exactly like that came out recently that may have actually forced Overwatch to innovate and create this mode. I can't put my finger on it. At launch of Stadium, 17 heroes will be available, and each season will see more added. When the game begins, you'll pick which hero you want to play as for the entire match. The team compositions are as follows: 1 tank, 2 damage, 2 support. So it is different from Marvel Rivals in the way that you just can't switch heroes whenever you want. You are locked into that hero for the match. So I hope you know your heroes pretty through and through. At the end of each round, you'll be able to select powers to upgrade your hero with, each having modifiers that alter and improve your abilities. Additionally, you can spend the new Stadium Cash, scoring currency, to purchase upgrades for your kit. And here we see a screenshot of all the characters that are going to be in the game, or at least some of them. Prior to each round, you'll be able to equip items and powers in the armory. If you're unsure which to equip, the game will suggest different example builds should you want a helping hand. Basically a quick build feature. And here's a picture of that whole power system and abilities and all that. Items can be common, rare, or epic, and though some will be exclusive to a specific hero, most can be equipped by any hero in the available roster. Up to 6 items can be equipped at one time, and you can sell your equipped items to swap out for new ones. Then they talk about how there are powers that give you new active and passive abilities, different new mixes and matches you can create to choose your fighting style. You'll have 3,500 Stadium Cash to start the match, and the better you perform in the round, the more cash you earn. Makes sense. There are 9 maps available, so 9 maps, 17 heroes to start. There will be 3 objective points, and everyone will play until a team wins 2 of those objective points. Again, I can't think of a game that's set up that way that would push Overwatch to go this direction. Can't think of one. And apparently this mode is going to have its own competitive ranking system, so there's going to be a ranked version, and it's not going to be attached from regular competitive play. In that case, think of it as like Fortnite Zero Build versus Build Mode versus Reloaded or whatever. It makes sense that way. So let's just cut right to it here. Overwatch 2 added a Marvel Rivals mode. That's what this is. It's third person, it's a stadium, it's 5v5, even though I think Marvel Rivals is 6v6, but it's still 2 teams going up against each other. You have to capture certain points in this mode. Best 2 out of 3 wins. It has multiple rounds. It's for all intents and purposes, yes, it's a Marvel Rivals mode. Now, I would never name names, but there are some people out there that are like, oh, this is a terrible idea. They're changing Overwatch too much. They're trying to copy other games. And the best one, oh, they're adding all these new powers and making an already complicated ability system even more complicated. And all I'll say to those people is, yes, they're changing the game because the game needs to change. The main complaint is that everybody is leaving the game because it's the same game over and over, and all they're putting out is new terrible skins. And as we just talked about earlier in this video, nearly half the audience has left to go play something else. So what is Overwatch going to do? Well, they're going to take that something else and they're going to copy it. So they can say, hey, we're also this. We're what you used to love, and now we're able to do this as well. They're innovating. They're actually doing something. And when people are like, oh, well, you're going to piss off a lot of the people that are already there still playing. All I have to say to that is go back to business 101. Your regulars are not the people who keep you in business. Your infrequent customers, those are the people that actually keep you in business, keep you profitable. I don't care about what the people who are still playing Overwatch, what they really want. They're getting what they want. When half the people are not buying my product anymore, not going to my service, they're going to somebody else, that tells me as a business, we need to innovate. We need to change. And yes, that might piss some of the regulars off, but the regulars already didn't leave. So my guess is that even when this game changes a little bit, which by the way, the only way it's really changing is just adding another mode. You can still play the old stuff. But my guess is that those people who didn't leave already, they're still not going to leave. They're still going to be there playing their Overwatch 2. And the few that do leave, well, they're going to be grossly offset by the infrequent customers that come back maybe. At least that's what Overwatch is betting on. And quite honestly, they need to bet on that. Because if they don't get those infrequent customers back in, it doesn't matter how many regulars they have. They're still going to get beat by Marvel rivals, and it still spells bad news for them financially. So personally, I take it as a good sign that Overwatch finally decided to innovate. It's not so good as a sign that it took a major rival, no pun intended there, to actually push them to innovate and change, but it's definitely what they needed. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go and leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, go and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.